everybody. Welcome to our inaugural episode of Dayton Drama Queens. We are so excited. I am Josh Stucky.
And I'm Philip Drennen.
And this is an incredible thing for us. Real quickly before we get started, this has had a weird life.
Yeah.
This is like our fourth or fifth time diving into this thing, but this time feels right.
I think so.
Yeah, it's going to be really,
I think it's because I'm here.
It's because Philip is here, which is interesting because as we were searching for what do we do for our first episode?
Yes.
Who do we bring on with, all the things that are going on in Dayton? Suddenly, news struck, and it was all related to Philip. Tell us a little bit about what's going on, Philip.
Well, I'm glad I can finally talk about this.
Yes.
I feel like I've been kind of whispering about it to you and friends for a while, but I have co-written a musical.
Yes.
And it's called The Big Gay Jamboree.
Imagine that.
Is that why we're calling this Drama Queens?
That's why we're calling this Drama Queens. You got it.
Yeah. So two of my best friends from college had written this screenplay over 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
About a woman who wakes up trapped in a golden age musical.
Oh, my God.
And is fighting for her life to get out. And over the course of events, they decided to turn it into a stage play and brought me on to co-write the music and lyrics for it.
Oh, my God.
And we also have a fourth friend who we all graduated together from CCM, who's directing the show. Oh, wow. So it's literally a dream come true. The four of us get to go and work on this show together.
Oh my gosh.
And it's surreal. Yeah. We just have so much fun and we're so excited for people to see it. I think that people are just really hungry for original works, especially works of comedy. I mean, it is just nonstop laughs, and I'm really proud of the score too. I mean, I'm biased.
No, of course you are. I think that's incredible. Dayton has so much rich history in theater and arts, and for you to keep that going.
Yeah.
I mean, I can just imagine your little footprint on the Walk of Fame here in Dayton.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting.
I think I would have to start that first.
I think it may exist somewhere. I don't know. Maybe not.
I do think about that though. I mean, being at Fairmont and coming up through Kettering and doing Muse Machine, I would just watch these people, become these stars. And you hear about these people, Allison Janney, and like all these people who have Dayton, Rob Lowe.
This goes on.
Exactly. I remember Nancy Cartwright.
Nancy Cartwright
went to Fairmont, and I just remember thinking like, how cool that somebody went to the same school and became, famous. And I don't care about fame, but I do want to be rich.
Oh. Interesting. No, I kind of get that though.
Yeah.
There's something more solid about the rich.
Absolutely. Yes.
Fame is fleeting. Kind of thing. Speaking of the fame thing, and speaking of, Philip and I have known each other since you were 10.
30 years.
30 years we've known each other. And I have to show you what I brought today.
Oh, no.
So look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Indian Riffle Elementary School, 1994 yearbook. And Philip and I are in here. And they're going to get shots of this for us. But kind of hard to see it. But there's Mr. Stucky.
Wow.
Now, this was back in the days when men had those big bangs.
Yep.
Or at least
it was kind of a bowl cut. That was you had like a professional bowl cut.
It was a professional bowl cut.
Yeah.
And I wore ties. Remember, I used to wear ties all the time. Which, does anybody wear a tie anymore?
I don't think so.
I really think about it. But then there's Philip and his cute little, I love how you have the picture with those
the lasers.
The lasers behind. That was a huge deal.
Oh, absolutely.
And your little glasses.
Yeah.
So cute.
I remember getting the choice too. You could like pick your background. Yes. And I was like, I don't need to see it. Lasers.
It's
like I knew.
And I have to say this, you had the best fifth grade teacher of all homeroom teachers.
Yeah.
Mrs. Bennett. Paula
Bennett.
Bennett, if you're out there. Incredible. She was solid. She knew what she was doing. We kind of emulated what she did. She knew what she was doing. And
I still see Paula around town. Yeah. I just saw her recently at the homecoming game at Fairmont. And she's so supportive of everything that I'm doing, you're doing, Dayton. I mean, she's just, she's great. I remember too, I don't know if they always did this, but fifth grade, we started switching classes. They were preparing us for middle school and high school. So that's why I actually got to be in your classroom as well.
Yes, you were in my class for language arts. Yes.
And that was my first play.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Yeah. My very
Pilgrim's Progress?
Pilgrim's Painting?
Pilgrim's Painting. It is Pilgrim, which really doesn't make any sense. But
I think we were like there was like a painting of pilgrims, or I was a pilgrim who painted.
Oh my God. And this was before gummies were even legal. So I don't know. No idea why we chose that show.
I don't know. I remember being like not a pilgrim though, but I was like, I think I was a kid who was like, I don't care about Thanksgiving or something like that. And then the Pilgrims came alive and like taught me about, I don't know, whatever, the importance of Thanksgiving. And by the end, I was like, Papa, I love Thanksgiving.
I totally can see it.
Yeah.
And I remember for Paula and I remember when you first traveled back through Dayton after you'd kind of gone out and, you know, dipped your toe in like the real shows.
Sure.
And I think it was Altar Boys.
Yeah.
Altar, tell me about that. Well, how did that come to pass?
Yeah, that was my first national tour was Altar Boys. And again, Dayton tie. So in the original cast was Tyler Maynard, who came through Muse Machine, and he was a big actor in Dayton, went to CCM. So I'd kind of always emulated him. So I always knew the show. And then I got cast in Altar Boys. I was so excited. So my first national tour, and I found out we're playing Dayton.
Yes.
And we're playing the Victoria Theatre.
Oh my God.
Which is like, you know, kind of, I grew up learning about theater through Muse Machine in the Victoria Theatre. So it was just such a full circle moment. And we had this big reception at Uno's. And I remember you and Paula and Mrs. Wolf.
Mrs. Wolf
was there.
Still going.
Yeah.
Mrs. Wolf is still going. Yeah.
A lot of my teachers throughout elementary school, middle school, high school were all there. My friends, my parents. I mean, it was so overwhelming and so cool to just have everybody there to support me. And everybody loved the show except one of my grandparents who found it sacrilegious.
You know, there is a sacrilegious element to that show. I mean, not maybe purposefully, but there is. I can totally understand why she comes.
I mean, I think it specifically, if you're not familiar with the show, it pokes fun at Catholicism.
Right.
And I think in a light way, but I think people who are very, very serious about the religion don't like any sort of poking.
Right.
So I guess doing a song about kneeling, standing up, sitting down, genuflecting a bunch wasn't her cup of tea, but
it's perfect thing to make fun of.
Exactly.
I will tell you, when Philip was little, and your mom can verify this, because we used to do conferences, and that was the very first time I met your mom. And of course, I had your sister Mallory later.
Yes.
But the first time I met your mom, I remember telling your mother, "This kid is special. Something amazing is going to happen for this kid." You know, and I'm sure your mom was like, "Yeah, right." You probably tell every mother that. I'm like, "No, I'm serious." And I remember when you came through with Altar Boys, I mean, I almost got this feeling of you just knew that you had this energy. And what's so great about you, honestly, your heart brings everybody along with you.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, that's true. I mean, it's not about you. It's about all of us in this, you know, and I think that's a gift. So
Thank you.
That's important and keep that going.
Yeah, I will. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've never been somebody who is like, I got to get away from my hometown and never return.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm very fortunate. I had a great childhood. I had a great upbringing. I had great educators. And Dayton has always been a really open-minded, artistic town. I mean, I feel really lucky to have grown up here and get to come back here and now create art here with these people and for these people. And it's just, it's great.
So for those of you who don't know, Philip and I do some work with TheatreLab. Philip is executive director. Executive director of TheatreLab. And then I kind of help out with the board and doing some new, unusual ways to try to reach people. But Philip has really kind of brought a new energy to TheatreLab. And tell us a little bit about how you see the future of TheatreLab and New York. How is this all going to work, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've already been out to New York a couple times, and I'm able to balance the both. For now.
Yeah, for now, sure.
I have no plans on stopping either. Okay. I want it all.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. By the way, everybody, this episode of Dayton Drama Queens is sponsored by Square One Salon and Spa. If you need a haircut, if you need nails, if you need massage, it's a great place to go. 6 locations. So if you need to look it up, it's squareonesalon.com. .com.
I remember seeing Cats when I was very young. And I think I was too young because that show's like kind of scary.
It is scary. It is. With those gleaming eyes in the audience.
And I just remember them like slinking up and like looking me right in the eye.
Yes.
Same. I was like,
It's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
It is creepy for sure. So what is like Philip Drennen? I mean, you're off-Broadway now. You're going to be like major. What is your big musical? What do you love?
Ooh.
Yeah, see, I should have given you time on this.
So, no, I do have an answer at the ready.
Oh, good.
The first movie, I mean, it is a stage musical, but I remember seeing as a kid was Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't know what musical theater was, but I knew that I wanted to watch Little Shop of Horrors constantly.
Yeah.
So my mom wore that VHS out. It was like that and Grease was just constantly.
Yes.
And I later learned I really just had a real fascination with Ellen Greene, who played Audrey.
Okay, yeah.
I think I maybe wanted to be her a little bit because she's just so fabulous. Yes. And so I watched that movie constantly. I've always loved that music. I mean, Alan Menken and Howard Ashman. It's like the best score ever. And little tidbit here. So Big Gay Jamboree is opening at the Orpheum Theatre, which is downtown in Manhattan, which is where Little Shop of Horrors first opened.
Oh my God, that is meant to be.
Yeah, and when I found that out, I found out we were getting the Orpheum, so of course I wanted to do some research, and I was looking it up, and it was a list of shows, and there's Little Shop of Horrors, and I was like,
and the Orpheum's been there for how long? I mean, isn't that thing forever old?
Yeah, because
I mean, it's even mentioned in like shows that are about old Broadway. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's been.
Yeah, they mentioned it in Gypsy.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Mama Rose.
Yeah. So it's a cool theater. I mean, it's small.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like a shotgun style, but it's perfect for what we're doing. It has that old school vibe to it.
That's awesome. You know, speaking of that in Greece, especially when I was younger, not, as young, but when I was younger, I had this thing for Stockard Channing. There was something about her in Greece where I was like, I love a woman that's just like, F you all. I don't need your business. And then the first time I popped on a wig in my entire life, people were like, you look just like Stockard Channing. I mean, you look just like her. And I was like, oh my God, I look like Stockard Channing.
Yeah.
Sent pictures to her, never heard a word. I'm sure. I'm sure it was
She's busy.
She's busy. She turned 80 last week. Wow. 80 years old.
This is weird, but like I knew who Stockard Channing was because of Grease, but I didn't really know her. And then I feel like in my formative years, I saw her again in The First Wives Club.
Oh, yeah.
She had such a small part. I mean, she's kind of like the catalyst for the whole movie, but this is so bizarre, but she's in this fur coat and pearls, and she has a cocktail, and she's smoking a cigarette, and she sees the paper, and she, spoiler alert, or trigger warning, or whatever, she jumps off her balcony. Yes. And this is weird to say, but I just remember being like, she is fabulous. And she's just a mess, like smoking and drinking. I was like, I want to be her. But I wanted to be all the women in that movie too. God.
And I forget, there was one, was The Ugliest Girl in the World, or do you remember that movie? Or The Most Beautiful? I don't remember.
Yeah.
What was the name of that movie she was in? And
wait, Lily Taylor? Is that the same movie?
Yeah, maybe. All I remember is she's just a horrible human being.
Yeah.
Like is seeking revenge on the world for the way she looks.
Yeah.
And then I realized something. I am an ugly woman in drag because of that show. I'm like, now I get it. You all think I look like her.
It's about the personality.
It sure is. That'll save you every time.
Sure.
Oh my gosh. So also on top of everything else that's going on in Dayton, Ohio, there are so many other theater groups.
I know.
How do you feel people are going to be able to sustain all this theater around the world? It just seems like it's becoming more and more difficult for people.
It has and it hasn't. I think that the pandemic really gave people the option to stay in more. And I think that if anything came out of that, people were like, oh, I'm actually okay staying in my house. And, but I also think that people are finally able to start getting out more.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that, theater is part of the reason people are going to seek out entertainment, because Dayton does have these great theaters that have been around for so long.
I know. And they truly are incredible.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to me.
And you can see something different anywhere you go. I mean, Human Race, of course, is a staple here.
Yes.
And they bring in these new plays and new musicals that I think is so important for a city like Dayton. Yeah. And then, Dayton Playhouse is doing these more sort of golden age things and things you're more familiar with. I went to the Theater Guild recently.
Yeah. Yes. They're one of our prizes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We'll talk about what they're doing here in a second. But I saw Flight of the Lawn Chair Man, which was great. It was super fun. Kind of reminded me of Little Shop of Horrors in a way. Okay. Just like real kooky, quirky.
Quirky, yeah.
But I hadn't been there in a while, and I was like, gosh, this is such a great setup that they have, that 3/4, and it's amazing how much theater we have in this town.
For sure. And there's plenty of kids theater, there's plenty of opportunities that way. I went to Wright State University. which if you really want an example of really good theater, it's at Rice University, which has really spawned off so many people who've done really well. It's an incredible place to see shows.
We have a handful, at least 5 cast members in Into the Woods are either studying theater at Wright State right now or just graduated.
Yeah.
Those kids are incredible. I mean, we have such a great cast in the show, but I just feel like everybody like steps up to the next person, and there's no weak link right now in this cast. And I just watch these kids and I'm like, this is the future.
Yeah.
And mixing with people that are at other schools, people that are in high school, people that, you know, aren't necessarily pursuing this, but live here now. It's just, it just made us all be like, okay, let's be our best here, you know?
I love that. And I just feel like, you know, one thing that you and I've talked about is we would love to find a way to bring all these theaters together and have a round table. And, you know, how do we make things go? How do we make things work? How do I lean on your strength to help my weakness? And hopefully that will come from, you know, maybe this show that
absolutely.
will do it. You're right. There's just so many great things going on in Dayton, Ohio. It's really probably our biggest forte is performing arts here.
I think so.
It's incredible. So
we
have a ballet. We have a Philharmonic. We have an opera. We have an opera in Dayton, Ohio.
I know.
What cities have an opera? So yeah, it's really cool. I also want to mention, if you're not doing anything in the next couple of weeks, look for on the RubiGirls.com, one of our performance groups here in Dayton. They have 2 upcoming things, Yellow Springs and then Sword Theater, which they help kind of like fundraise and make some money. That is an incredible theater in Middletown, Ohio. Check it out.
So pretty.
That is the home to
Anova.
Anova Theater Group. So there's another one. So make sure you look at that. And anything else you can think of?
Just keep going out and supporting Dayton.
We need it. And thank you. We want to thank Philip Drennen so much. We're so proud of you, a hometown hero, and on you go, onward and upward, and it's going to be amazing.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see where this ends up. And interestingly, folks, if you are wondering, Big Gay Jamboree, Dayton Drama Queens, Philip and I are gay. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.